Life is grand when there's snow on the sand. You're listening to episode 156 of the Tom Kelly Show. I am doing this fast. It is 1:56 p.m. on a Tuesday, whatever date it is, February 1st, and I'm on Long Island on a mission to get to my parents' house before my nephews come home for a little window of time when they're home. Without getting too into it, my dad picks them up from school. It's cute. Someone else picks them up, blah, blah, blah. And I'll continue our mission from yesterday's show. We've been talking about the things you should check off to make a day a good day. The things you can check off that you can control to make sure today you're having a good day. And one of them, for me, has been some form of time with nature or exercise. Hard part with the city, you don't get this. You don't get the ocean. You don't get the beach. You don't get whatever. And yesterday, only for you people, I could have done therapy in the car, but I wanted to do a longer, more detailed podcast from my apartment. There's pressure on me to do a good show. I'm putting it on myself. There's this thing where I'm good. I know this show is good. And I know this show is good. Let me own that for a minute. I don't think I've had too many bad episodes. And there's this pressure in your head to find a unique voice that's in my soul that is somewhere between poetry and comedy. If that makes sense. Yeah, poetry. I know that, God, I hate that it's the Irish Catholic in me now. I feel like I don't want to be too confident for fear of seeming cocky. But yeah, somewhere between poetry and comedy is the Tom Kelly Show. I wish I could come up with a poem off the top of my head right now that did not have the word Nantucket in it. So maybe it's not quite poetry. But you get what I'm saying. So yesterday, I could have stayed at my parents' house, but decided to go to the city, podcasted from there, and honestly, I was stressed, I was fried, I did not love yesterday's show, even though it was, definitely so much better than that Joe Rogan. Let's do that this week. Let's start a war with Joe Rogan. By the way, by the end of this podcast, if time permits, we will talk about Tom Brady. Let's see where we go. But anyway, back to the poetry. But yeah, so here I am on the beach. When I say life is grand when there's snow on the sand. God, what a beautiful quote, huh? It just came from a insane woman I saw on my 1 mile walk down to the Jones Beach Tower. And and she was singing to herself. And I always wonder about people who sing to themselves loudly. Are they insane, or are they lonely people looking to be noticed? And in this woman's case, I say yes. Yes to both. Doing business, getting old business out of the way before I go on my Tom Brady rant. Thank you to everybody who is joining in my campaign to get Jennifer Garner, legendary movie actress, onto the program. People have been commenting on her stuff. And she is at Jennifer Garner. No, she's Jennifer.Garner on Instagram. And again, I love her Instagram feed. It's positive, it's cute, it's quirky, and I think it would just fit in well with the home of self-help comedy, the Tom Kelly Show. So special shout-outs to Brett Walker, Jack Bird, who else has sent nice things to her? Nikki in Germany, Tommy DeDario, the McLeods, my friend Pam, Pete Starts, a lot of people. So just let's annoy her for the weekend. A story about my podcasting past. Remember, I with 3 to 4 of my best friends hosted what we used to call Astoria Queens' #1 podcast. And I think I invented the group internet harass. There's a word for that. But I think I invented it. I'm not going to use the woman's name now because I now know this is kind of wrong. But we'll call her Kelly Cougar. Okay? Kelly Cougar was her name. I saw her on a dating website, and I may or may not have figured out what her email address was by tricking my friend Amy into going into the Princeton alumni email list to get it. And I would give out Kelly Cougar's email address. I'd be like, okay, everybody, email kelly.cougar@alumni.princeton.edu that she should go on a date with Tom Kelly. And I know for sure she got 100 emails, mainly because I sent 40 of them. But God bless, that did not work back in the day. And then I guess another time we did a group peer pressure for a girl who is famous. She's on the Very Cavallari show now. And I knew her way before she was famous. I knew she was going to be famous one day. Brittany Taylor, who is now dating somebody on a reality TV show and pregnant. So there you go. Those are good things going. The Apple Watch, sometimes it just buzzes you just to say hi. Doesn't even give you a notification. The Apple Watch is my needy girlfriend. It's like, buzz. Well, okay, it just buzzed. Why? Oh, I got a text from somebody. I just got an offer to see Hamilton from Jeanette Barber at 7 o'clock, and I am dressed like a slob on the beach. People, you're catching the moment. You're catching the moment. I can't conference call her in. I'll call her from the car, but I'm going to finish the damn podcast. So by Monday's show, what is today? Today's Tuesday going into Wednesday. Yeah, stay tuned, people. Will Tom Kelly have gone to Hamilton with Jeanette Barber? Dun, dun, dun. Let's find out. I don't even know. Yeah, I could potentially pull it off. But let's finish the show. You know what? This is the problem with having phones and live broadcasting, people. Lots of people at the beach. The rookies are out, but I found a quiet corner. I'm podcasting from the lifeguard shack at Field 6. They got a little picnic table. For some reason, a tree branch. There was never a tree growing here, but there is a stub right there behind me. And the big news of the day is Tom Brady is retiring from football, American football, for my friends overseas. And for those of you who have followed my career for a long, long time, in the 2010s, I made a lot of TV appearances off of being willing to make fun of Tom Brady in public. Tom Brady is loved, friends, okay? He is loved. And I hated him from the very minute he won his first Super Bowl. The short story is Tom Brady dated a woman named Laura who went to my college. I actually sat next to her for graduation. I never talked to her before, never talked to her after. Beautiful woman. She lived in a dorm that we called Models Inc. I think she lived in that one, but let's go with that for now. But it was a room full of 6 to 12 gorgeous women, and the kids called it Models Inc. And Models Inc. was some sort of a Beverly Hills 90210 type Fox drama about models who lived together. So anyway, Tom Brady, God bless him, breaks up with Laura 2 weeks after he became a national name and won the Super Bowl. And the joke that I told on The View, and this was, again, being willing to be a dick, which I'm generally not willing to do, being willing to be a jerk has opened doors for me. And it opened this one. And I love it. They put me on The View. I told the story, and my thought is, after you date Tom Brady, how do you ever date again? I mean, being for real, you guys are starting to put together a list of my exes. I had at least one love of my life who was friggin' perfect. Perfect. Tall, athletic, Ivy League educated, and a professional athlete. Went on to go do social work with kids. The perfect human being on paper, except for her taste in men. But I've had trouble dating again after that. And my ex did not win the Super Bowl. This girl, Laura, it was like she dated Superman, and now she can't even date Clark Kent. And being willing to be mean about that then led my friend Katie McLaughlin to suggest me to be on CNN headline news to make fun of Tom Brady again. And I think then it was like during Deflategate. And I just have a disdain for New England sports, even though I kind of admire them. Remember, I went to college in Connecticut. Quinnipiac University was outside of New Haven for the sake of geography, and it's in what I call the neutral zone between New York sports fans and New England sports fans. And listen, one of my roommates, Bruce, who, by the way, not talking to me because I made fun of his July 4th wedding in 2005 on IHateWeddings.com. Bruce was a big New England sports fan, and every time, and remember, at this point, the Red Sox still had not won a World Series. The Patriots were a big, weren't that great. I don't remember them doing well. Anyway, every time the Patriots lost, and Bruce, who just would stick it to you whenever they could, even over sports, it was fun to see Bruce angry. But also, too, I always thought New England fans were douchebags. And Tom Brady is, people say, Tom, are you a hater? Do you just hate him because he's good looking? Do you hate Tom Brady because he has money and a gorgeous wife and he's successful in his career and everybody adores him and he's happy? Yes. He's just, I know people who know him. Even Michael Strahan says nice things about him. Maybe he is a great guy, but right now I enjoy not liking him. It's just easier. And, remember, he dumped the prettiest girl from my college. He dumped the prettiest girl from my college for Bridget Moynihan. Then he knocked up Bridget Moynihan, a beautiful model and actress, dumped her for Giselle, then somehow went back to Bridget Moynihan for a bit, and then went back to Giselle, and, and he was basically baby daddying in two spots. And I'm just saying, we've, not to play the race card here, but we've given Nick Cannon a lot of crap for less. Though now maybe not, maybe a little less so. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, because he's good looking and gorgeous and blue-eyed and Caucasian and the American dream man, we let him go with a lot of stuff. Deflategate. He threw the ball boy under the bus. And listen, if Vladimir Putin had a baby with the Kardashians and that baby played football, that baby would be named Tom Brady. So, where are we at, people? Geez, you know what's funny? The podcast is short right now. I'm only 13 minutes in, and I got a chance at friggin' Hamilton tickets, and I'm just going with this. Yesterday's podcast, which I thought was not poetry, yesterday's podcast, which was fine. It was good. You should listen to it. You should listen to all of them, people. There's 156. You should listen to them in chronological order, starting at episode 30. Okay, there you go. 30, maybe even 40, if you were looking to go back. That said, if you missed yesterday's, you'd be okay. Like right now, it's funny. I'm sitting here at the beach sharing my energy spot with you guys. And the scary part about life is there's a line, I think it's an Einstein quote. Time is that which keeps everything from happening at once. And then the other thing is you then have to choose. You have to make choices. Like I am choosing not to return a phone call because I value this podcast enough that I want to keep the flow going. I chose to come see my nephews and maybe have dinner with my folks, but I may now have to choose to not have dinner with my folks to go see Hamilton for free. I have work to do for radio, but there's a lot. Again, there's a lot to do, people. There's a lot to do. And you have to make choices. And that's the big thing I've always had trouble with, is picking what things you want. And sometimes and the times I have made choices, you sit and wonder, did you make the right ones? It's FOMO. I am a living example of FOMO, people. And for those of you who don't know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out. I have a lot of foes. I have phony, fear of not including everyone. When I throw a party, I have to invite all 500 people. It has to be in public and at an open bar because I'm always afraid of getting that one text message, I would have come, Tom, but you didn't invite me. Fear of not including everyone. Yeah, and it's funny, just that one of the things I do get down here, if you notice that last pause I just made, is what I love about being down here at the ocean is I'll hear a wave crash and I'll suddenly be present. I'll suddenly be present. So, you know what, people? I think would you forgive me, audience? Would you forgive me if I cut the podcast short so I could call Jeanette back, figure out what the deal is for the Hamilton tickets, and go see my nephews for an hour? Would you be okay with that, audience? I know I'm pulling a little bit of a Fred Rogers here, who, by the way, Fred Rogers is one of my creative influences. I mean, God, could this podcast be Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but with a little more cursing and sexually suggestive slogans? I don't know. I feel like I want to wrap up and get some wisdom in here before the podcast is over. What have we learned today? Sometimes you got to be a bit of a jerk or a bit edgy to get discovered. That's our Tom Brady wisdom. And 2, again, I do suggest everybody go listen to the Asking October follow-up in the Wendy's drive-thru. Is sometimes you have to ask for things, and you're either going to get them or you're not. So this week I'm asking you all, tweet, Instagram, Jennifer Garner, and ask her if she would be on the Tom Kelly Show podcast. I'm always asking you to say thank you, like my friend Sean McKeever did. When you like a guest on the Tom Kelly Show who has been here, definitely tweet them and say thank you. No need to tell Tom Brady we're talking about him today. No need. And also Jessica Curson, a comedian I was admiring yesterday. I kind of said I could email her myself, and I'm going to. But it's more fun to have you guys tell her that we're talking about her on the Tom Kelly Show podcast. And I'm trying to put this on YouTube. Jack Bird said he loves it being on YouTube because it goes on YouTube faster. Also, I think YouTube and podcast and the Facebook podcast app gives people a chance to comment. I'm debating doing a group, but I really feel like how many hours a day do you all really have to talk about Tom Kelly? But I think it would be fun to set you all up on a date with each other. My friend Father Lou, who I talk about a lot on the podcast, was very big on matchmaking friends. He felt like, how can I know so many great people and they not know each other? And I feel like a Facebook group, or maybe there's some sort of technological answer to me getting you guys to talk to each other. And in fact, do me a favor, comment on something, send me a message somehow, and if you can't figure out any of that stuff, TomKellyShow@me.com. Is there a way, besides Discord? I know my audience skews way too old for Discord. But is it a Facebook group? Is it just putting it up on the YouTube and letting people like Brett Walker and Jacob Lee Downey and Charles Stuyvesant all find each other there? I don't know. Anyway, friends, so forgive me, shorter podcast, consciously so. And you guys have yourself a great weekend. All right? And obviously, folks, go put an eye on all the stuff I'm doing on Instagram and TikTok, Tom Kelly Show. But until Monday, good night, Lifeguard Shack.